I get if it's like Smurfing USA. That's a song
Yeah.
parody, right? Because it's actually a play on surfing. But if you just take, I want to smurf you like an animal, I want to smurf you from the inside, does that count as a cover version? A
Well,
parody?
here's another question. If you or I were to release "I Want to Smurf You Like an Animal,"
Mm,
are we
yeah.
exempt because it's parody? Are we exempt from copyright infringement, or do the owners of Smurf get to sue us because we're using their
Mm.
copyrighted IP?
Well, I think the music, any sort of version, still has to go past the publishers of the music. So I remember when Chris, the bloke Franklin, did his song Bloke, and
Yeah,
it was a cover of
Vaughan's
Meredith
favorite
Brooks.
song. I believe Vaughan voted for that in Triple J's Hottest
Gave
100
him
several
a standing
times.
ovation when he saw him perform it live at the Sydney Comedy Store, from memory. So
He spent the whole show leading up to Chris getting on stage going, I hope he sings Bloke. I hope he sings Bloke. And like, I'm pretty sure he's going to sing Bloke, Vaughan. You're okay.
he sings Bloke, and it's so long since Bloke came out that he has to do a whole explanation of who Meredith Brooks was and what the song Bitch was for people to actually understand what the reference point is before he actually goes into it. But my understanding, I think, from Chris of how that went down, I'm sorry if I remember this wrong, is that they had to run, you have to run it by the publishers. So like it doesn't mean that, like, I know when Tripod did the cover of Paranoid Android on one of their albums, it had to go to Radiohead's people to see if they could actually get permission to do it. Now I'm not sure that Tom York is running his lazy eye over every submission that comes in for a Radiohead cover, but I imagine there is some process that like they go through as a band. Somebody is making that decision, and apparently Meredith Brooks thought it was really funny. Bloke, she was into the idea, but the guy who actually wrote the music, maybe or
Right.
whatever, wasn't as into it until the record company explained to him how many albums it was going to sell and how much money he was going to make out of it, and then he was really into it. He was really behind it.
Do you think I was wondering about that with cover songs. I was listening to Mrs. Robinson by the Lemonheads. And I was like, oh, this is one of those cover songs which actually I think I like more than the original. But is there like a set percentage that when you do a cover, so just say you're a band and you need a hit and you do a cover of a song, like is it worthwhile? Like, are you going to make zero money, but you get like notoriety and airplay? Or, is there do you get like 10% of the profits from doing that cover?
Yeah, I don't think it all goes to the original artist because I mean it is a new piece of work, but yes, there's a certain percentage of money that goes to the original artist, and I think it's a substantial amount of money. I think so. It is very much like getting it out there, and the artists themselves, the original artist benefits from that. So like when Alien Ant Farm covered Smooth Criminal, of course, that was a win-win because we got to know who Alien Ant Farm were, and we also Michael Jackson made some more money. So I mean, there's no downside to that story, just positives on every side of it.
Well, I think we should push ahead with this Smurf cover of Closer. I've just got the lyrics here. So let's see how often we have to swap Smurf in to make this work. So you let me Smurf you. 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 That's the first verse, right? I smurfed
Yeah, I
apart
think
my
so.
insides.
I don't think we can leave any of the original lyrics in at that point. We have to just. So far, there's a lot of smurfing. Let's see what else happens.
I smurfed apart my insides. Help me. I've got no Smurf to sell, or I've got no soul to smurf. I've got no Smurf to make it rhyme. We'd probably have I've got no Smurf to sell.
I'm going to say I've got no Smurf to sell. Also, I think it's good that they're not selling Smurfs. Like,
Okay.
it's a statement against slavery. We don't want
Yeah.
Smurfs selling other Smurfs.
Help me. The only thing that smurfs for me. Help me get away from myself. I think we can leave that. That's probably the one lyric where we don't have to swap out Smurf. I want to
one line so far we haven't inserted Smurf into. I want to smurf you like an animal. I want to smurf you from the inside.
I want to smurf you like an animal. My whole existence is flawed. You get me closer to God. We can leave that, can't we? In isolation, that could be considered maybe like a Christian song lyric. You get me closer to God. You can...
Yeah, or could it be like you get me closer to like Gargamel or something? You get me closer to Papa Smurf. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, you get me closer to Gargamel. I like that. I don't think that syncopation doesn't work, but we'll squeeze it in. You can have my isolation. That's not too scary for kids. You can have the hate that it brings. That might be getting too scary for kids.
You can have the Smurf that it brings.
Okay,
You can have the Smurf that it brings.
You can have the Smurf that it brings. You can have my absence of faith. You can Smurf my everything. I don't know. I think it's. I mean, does it work? All right. Okay.
Yep.
You tear down my reason. Help me. It's your Smurf I can smell. Help me. You make me perfect. Help me become somebody Smurf? No, help me become somebody else. That's fine. I want to Smurf you like an animal.
No.
I want to Smurf you from the inside.
That's
I want to Smurf you like an animal. You bring me closer to Gargamel. I didn't even know this is lyrics in the song. Through every forest, which works for the Smurfs because they live in a forest.
Perfect.
Above the trees, within my stomach, scraped off my knees. All right, now we're getting into like it was dodgy territory.
No, that's okay. I mean, this is all could just be read as what it is. I mean, I know that that's not what he's doing, but like if you're a kid, like it can just be something that someone who needs something scraped off their knees.
Okay.
They've been in the forest.
Can I just change one? So rather than within my stomach, because kids don't say that, kids say tummy. So
Tummy?
through every
within my
forest,
tummy.
above every trees, within my tummy, scraped off my knees, which works because kids scrape their knees.
Yeah, great.
I drink
All the time.
honey.
It's relatable.
I drink the honey. I'm
Yep,
sure
kids
Smurfs
love
love a
honey.
bit of honey. Inside your hive. What do the Smurfs live? Do they live in
fine. I think that's fine.
I mean, it's kind of gross to think
Underground hut.
that Smurfs live in a hive. Like they're these cute little blue kind of gnome creatures, but then they just all like gross bugs just like pile into the same hive and just like lie on top of each other, like writhing on top of each other.
I mean, it is kind of what they do. And there's like like a hive, there's one woman and a lot of men.
You are the reason I stay alive. Well, I actually thought that was going to be a lot more hard. I think it's really just the chorus. You got to swap out the Smurf. I want to Smurf you from the inside. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.